Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out this video. And I have another Mythic Plus dungeon run from the Prepatch for you guys, and this is probably the run I'm most proud of all Prepatch long. It's not the highest key we've done, it's not the most damage I've done in a key, but this was the most effective I've been in a key. So I hope you guys will watch this one from start to finish, and we'll just have a ton of fun. So this is from the current week, and I am the Lust in my group, so we're going to do a big pull here. We're going to go to the left as soon as we start off the dungeon. We're going to do a big pack here, and then I lusted. I'm just going to keep the pet out for a little while just because I wanted to continue to keep the cleave rolling here. We're in the bolstering week, so this is a +14 Neltharus, and the affixes are Tyrannical, Afflicted, and Bolstering. So one of the things that you're going to see throughout this run is that once in a while things will get bolstered that we can't interrupt, like their maybe obviously you can interrupt melts and stuff like that later on, but there is just some, like the hunters, for example. As you're going in between bosses 1 and 2, you don't want to have too many stacks of bolster on those because they'll just flat out one-shot you. But I still have my pet out here. I'm going to get rid of it here in a second. But on this trash, the important interrupt is going to be on I think it's the Tharmatage. I think that's how you say it. But if you get the tether ability, like you just saw on me, I use my Feign Death and it'll drop that immediately. Otherwise, it does a ton of damage, particularly when they're bolstered. But also, there's that core ability that you want to interrupt. That way, you don't basically just wipe. So here is the pet going away. And I've been championing goals each and every time I come into a Mythic Plus, and I've been talking about those whenever I do the long form of these videos. And so I've been trying to send True Shot as much as possible. Just get more True Shots out during a Mythic Plus. Don't let your aim shots cap, and you'll get more damage out of your kit just in general, and it'll be good practice for you in the War Within to whittle the cooldown of your True Shots. More True Shots equals more damage, but also so does smart usage of True Shot. So for example, I had posted a Neltharus not long ago, I think it was maybe last week, and I had used True Shot on this pack, but then I got up to the boss, which is Magmatusk, and I didn't have all of my cooldowns, which is what the goal really should be. So you want to be using your True Shot as much as possible, but you also want to have it up for priority pulls. And if anything's a priority pull, it's probably going to be a Tyrannical boss. So here we have Magmatusk up first. I'm just going to unload with all of my cooldowns here. I did get Lava Spray on me, so I'm going to go ahead and use one of my defensives. That way I don't take as much damage there. And then, unfortunately, I don't get the extension of Volley, which feels kind of bad, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. Here comes the Blazing Charge on me. I was pretty close to the wall, so you do have to kind of be careful of that. I probably should have been a little bit farther out in the middle of the room, but it is A-okay. And we got some really, really good burst damage there, and that's all credit to the fact that I had all of my cooldowns up during that careful aim zone. There's another Lava Spray. We want to dodge that, make sure we are not going to be taking extra damage there. And obviously stay near your healer unless they have Blazing Charge. And then we're already at roughly 55% left on the boss, and we're still coasting off of that big burst window, because it's really how Marksman Hunter works. You know, you have a high amount of burst and then you fall off, and then luckily for us, with our True Shots coming up faster and faster, you don't have to worry about as much downtime, and that's going to be really the key to our damage once we get into the War Within. So I was a little bit out of the right spot there. Luckily, wasn't that big of a deal. I had the Lava Spray on me there, so I went ahead and used my turtle and then tried to not, spray other people with it. At 35% on Magmatusk, I've done a pretty good job of using my defensives on this encounter. It helps that I don't get hit with every ability. I have the munition that just went out there, so I did think about using one of my defensives as well. That way I could have negated the extra dot damage, so the healer would have had, more time to heal other people. But I went ahead and I popped my True Shot there, and I unfortunately didn't get the extension on Volley again. I will say I thought I did an amazing job in this run using my cooldowns and having them line up very well, but unfortunately I didn't do a very good job on single target of extending those volleys thanks to our tier set. So Magmatusk is down to almost 5%. Here comes one more blazing charge. Make sure you avoid that. And then I've already got my true shot on cooldown, and I do know that we have another big pull that's coming up soon. But the amazing thing is that we don't have to use true shot to still get really good damage, particularly if you are in an AoE situation. And speaking of my talents and builds and all that fun stuff, all that information will be found down in the description of the video. And I am using In the Rhythm, Killzone, and Bulletstorm, so I'm not using light ammo in this run, even though we had some big pulls. And something I did want to mention with Bulletstorm, and something I had kind of forgotten about Eagle Talon's True Focus. I was always thinking that change was just to help us with our tier bonus for the War Within, but it also helps us with that Bulletstorm damage. So whenever, if you guys are unfamiliar, they changed our Eagle Talon's True Focus just a little bit. So whenever you use a precise shot proc, or I should just say a multi-shot, chimera shot, or arcane shot during your true shot, it will shoot the second one or another one at 30% effectiveness. But if you have full stacks of Bulletstorm, which is super easy to do, that thing hits like a truck and hits twice. And I really saw an uptick in my damage, and I need to do a better job of weaving those random multi-shots and not feeling like I have to only use a rapid fire or only use an aim shot. In fact, I think in this run, I don't have my full breakdown, unfortunately, but I did approximately 10 or 12% of my total damage as multi-shot, and then I had 13% of my damage was my explosive shot, which just means I was hitting more enemies with explosive shot, so I was using it more effectively, and the damage in this run definitely showed. I don't remember if I said it at the beginning, but I ended up doing 770k DPS overall in this run, and that's without any sort of external, so we were really pumping, doing some really great damage, and this Phoenix will just not leave me alone. So I kind of alluded to it earlier. This is where we're going to see some of those hunters that you definitely don't want to bolster. We did have that happen a couple times, and the group overall did a really nice job of realizing, hey, maybe these hunters need to die first, or they need to be almost dead before you bolster the crap out of them. But we've got another big pull here, and I'm looking at my cooldown. So True Shot's coming up, and I know we're still quite a bit a ways from the boss, so I know I can go ahead and send it. So here we're going to do another really big burst. I'm actually on the Bone Tender currently. I think I was trying to get ready to do like an interrupt or something. Actually, does this one even have the interrupt? I think this is the healer. Either way, it died, so it didn't matter. The trainees you can purge with your trank shot, but we absolutely massacred that group, so we didn't really have to worry about what they were going to do because they were already dead. But I'm looking at my cooldown usage. I have about probably a minute 10 or so left on this True Shot, and I want to make sure and have it up for the boss. So to do that, obviously I can't use it now, but if it does come up, I'm going to hold it, because I'm trying to do a better job of making sure that I have my True Shots up for every boss, while still being pretty liberal with True Shot any other time in the dungeon. So we're just cleaving off of the hunter at this point. I'm just going to continue to do my normal rotation, trying to get as many extensions of my volley thanks to my tier set as possible. And man, I'm going to miss that tier set when it goes away here in a couple weeks. So we are at 19 seconds left on True Shot, and these enemies are going down very quickly. Like we're consistently bursting well over 1 million, even on like 3-4 target cleave. So some really good damage in this build. And speaking of the build as well, I am using double blue silk lining in this run. So I had a 61.2% uptime on that. So that's pretty healthy. And I credit basically everybody in my group, because everybody did a really nice job of making sure I stayed alive. And also, if you guys are watching the amount of damage that I'm taking in this run, keep in mind, I have 37% versatility in my build. Like, stuff hurts. Plus, Neltharus right now is pretty bugged, whereas some of the stuff is doing just obscene damage. We're going to get up to the Forgemaster here in a second, and you're going to see absolutely, like, I think the Paladin got one shot at one point. Like, just doing so much damage. So here, I had the bright idea of waiting to not use True Shot. I should have just used it. I should have just sent it. That's just something that I was trying to wait for the burn phase on, and, you know, is what it is there. So here comes the grounding spears. For whatever reason, I didn't get a spear. And I don't know why. So I know I had the Paladin's bubble on me, but I think the bubble dropped off. So I don't know why I ended up losing my chain. Either way, here comes the burn phase, so I'm going to go ahead and send my cooldowns here. Actually, I think I was trying to wait for Lust. So this is one of those things where I shouldn't have delayed it. I should have just sent it. And because of that, I wasn't able to extend the volley, and I also just wasn't able to get as much damage out, because I probably could have got another full True Shot during this fight. But either way, Chargath is down lower than 50% now, and we have another Dragon Strike that's coming out there. I've never been very good at timing that. I think you can time it where you feign and you don't take any damage, or you don't get the dot on you. I haven't figured it out though, honestly. So better hunters than me can do it, that's for sure. So here comes the next set of chains, and again, for whatever reason, I didn't get mine. Was it because I used a defensive there? I don't know. But I didn't get a chain again. In fact, the last two videos, or including this one, the last two videos, I didn't get chains once. So I'm really confused on that one. But we have another burn phase here at 25% on Chargath. He is going down very quickly. And I do have my pet out because I was the Lust. I didn't bother to dismiss. Could it have been a little bit more damage? Yeah, probably. But it's not that big of a deal. And Chargath, like I said, is going down very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to my True Shot here, because I know there's going to be a big pull on the other side of this door here in just a second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start dismissing the pet, as Fubar is going to go grab the next set of enemies. I'll put out the misdirect here in 1 second. There's the misdirect. I'm going to cleave off the hunter, so then here comes the explosive shot, the volley. I did rapid fire, then I'm going to do True Shot, aim shot, and then so on and so forth. The Bone Tender was the one that interrupts. There we go. It has the Molten Clay. So that's something that you want to interrupt if you absolutely need to interrupt that and you don't want it to heal. So we actually split this pull, because there's this pull here, and then there's a bigger pull just past this little chasm here. And we normally try to pull them together, but since it was a 14 and this place was super buggy when we were... In fact, it's still buggy as me recording this voiceover. We decided to just go ahead and split it in two. So Fubar is going to go over there. He's going to grab everything. And oh, also, the chains were not working in this dungeon. The chains that stun everything and make everything take more damage, not working. So that felt pretty bad. We figured that one out. On a dungeon run before this, we got about halfway, or I guess they did. I didn't personally, but it was definitely not working as intended. And from what I've talked to people today, it is still not fixed. But we're just cleaving off of the hunter here. I'm looking at my True Shot. I know that I'm not going to be using it on this pack, because as soon as this stuff dies, we're going to go running up the spiral staircase, and there's nothing to do damage. And I do know that there's a big juicy pack at the very top that I want to make sure and have that True Shot up for. So we had like 1.1 million DPS there, and I didn't have True Shot up. So some really good damage. So up we go, get stuck on the column there for good measure, because you know that's what I do. But we're going to go ahead and put misdirect, and we're going to try to interrupt or / knock up as many melts as possible, because melts will melt you. So here comes all of my cooldowns. I'm just going to send everything. Here comes the True Shot, rapid fire, and then I'm just going to continue to extend that volley as much as possible, interrupting melt as much as I can. And this pat just melted, like straight up, like almost 3 million DPS there. And that's a credit to making sure I had my cooldowns when I knew I needed them, or when there was an opportunity to do a bunch of damage. And you know, when you're going to go into dungeons in the War Within, you're not going to have good cooldown usage. You're not going to know the cadence of everything. You're not going to have your route yet, and that's totally fine. But getting in here and just sending stuff has been so helpful, even as for me as a seasoned marksman player, which has been playing all these dungeons for all expansion long, pretty much, I've still got a ton of value out of just getting back in there, getting in the swing of things, ascending True Shot, getting it whittled down as much as possible, and then knowing when I can and cannot hold it. So again, like I said on Chargath, I definitely learned things. You know, I made mistakes there, and then I'm going to make up for it for the rest of the dungeon and do some really great damage in the process. So I wish I would have had True Shot here. Normally we go over to in front of the mini boss there. I was thinking we were going to do that, that's why I went ahead and sent True Shot when I did, but that didn't happen. But that's okay, because here comes True Shot now, and we're going to make up for lost time and do a bunch of damage on these ads. So we just want to make sure and dodge the frontal from the, I think it's the Iron Torch that actually does the frontal. Yeah, the Scorching Breath, because that'll straight up kill you with 4 stacks. Well, I mean, it'll kill you anyway, but 4 stacks of Bolstering, yeah, I'm not going to have a good time there. So we are staring down the barrel of Forgemaster, and Forgemaster was the boss that was bugged, where I think he does one-shot our paladin at one point. I was scared to death of him, and I was using cooldowns when I probably didn't need to, and I didn't pay for it, but I got bailed out by Karm, so I do really appreciate her keeping me alive through all this. Even with again 37% versatility, this boss hurts. So Fubar is going to continue to chain pull, which I really appreciate. He's not chain pulling too much where we're getting too many extra bolstering stacks, but we're just going to clear off this side, and then we're going to, I believe we pull the left pack near Forgemaster, we're going to pull it in with the boss. So I want to have True Shot up for that. So I'm at 10 seconds left on my cooldown. We have just the one blacksmith, and he's got 4 stacks of the bolstering, so we want to make sure that you don't take any extra damage than you have to. And we're not going to have lust for this. Here comes the Forge Stomp. It does, you know, even with 2 sacks, it did basically a third of my health. So we're going to go ahead and pull everything in. So I'm going to let Fubar jump down there. We're going to get some, I believe, oh yeah, got to get those cookies. It's always nice to have a Warlock, and I definitely use them. So we're going to go ahead and grab the lava flares and then go into the boss. Here comes the volley, and then I'm just going to send everything. And looking at our health pools already, we're getting chunked. We want to make sure and keep the flare interrupted, as otherwise you're just going to die. So this blazing Aegis was what was, look right there, straight up one shot our paladin. I don't know if he was right at 100%, but he was very healthy, and he just got annihilated. And so did our warlock. So I was very scared. So I started using defensives that I probably wouldn't have used on some of these things. For example, I used Turtle on one of the Aegis. So I'm going to run up here, and I'm going to make sure I'm within range of my healer. And then, yeah, here comes the... I was deathly afraid at that point. You probably don't need to use your turtle, particularly if you dodge the swirlies on the ground, but I was not taking any chances. I really wanted to time this key. So I'm just going to continue to extend the True Shot, or excuse me, extend my volley, and we have the Might of the Forge headed our way, so all that AoE damage is when I want to help my healer out. And then here comes another Aegis. I'm going to go ahead and use the see, it only did 20% of my health there, so it was kind of buggy, where sometimes it would do a ton of damage and sometimes it wouldn't. I guess I didn't realize if I had an external or not, because I had my own defensive there. But my True Shot has come up again, and now I know my volley is going to come up as well, so I want to try to have those together. That way I can take advantage of that kill zone and do 8% more damage. So I'm going to hold off on everything here, just because I'm going to be moving a bunch. And then there we go, almost die. Get that clutch heal there, which I so appreciate. There goes the volley, and then now I'm going to be working on getting as much kill zone damage as possible. So it's just going to go aim shot, rapid fire when it comes up. That way I can extend it, particularly if my trick shots is almost gone. I barely made it there, and then we are, see if I can get the another extension. So I don't get the extension there. That's okay though. So the Forgemaster is at 20%. And then I did happen to have my defensive still. So glad that that's a 2-charge system now. Looking at our damage, we have some really, really good damage. I know that we did pull some enemies in, so this is not completely a single target. But again, some really good damage, and that's a huge credit to having all of my cooldowns up when I need the most on a Tyrannical boss fight. Even when it's not Tyrannical, it's still important to be able to do that good single target damage, particularly when it's not your forte, like it's going to be for. It's not going to be for us in the War Within. So we're going to have to do all we can to make sure that we go into boss fights with True Shot up. Otherwise, you know, like the Birdie boss over in Algathar, yeah, you don't probably need it up for that pull, but most bosses you definitely want to. So I actually didn't know that you could pull these guys and they could snap down there. Unfortunately, I think we are going to lose our healer there. Yep, pop, pop. So lost the healer real quick. They're going to get pulled down there, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop down. So we normally pull these guys before we head over to Forgemaster's little area, so that's what I thought we were going to do. But Fubar decided we were going to pull these lava bears in with this 3-pack. So marksman hunters everywhere are rejoicing, and Fubar about paid for it. So there we go. We got the rapid fire going out. Make sure I don't get knocked off the platform, and then I'm going to start weaving in those multi-shots every once in a while, particularly when I have full stacks of Bulletstorm, and again, seeing some really great numbers because of that. But look at this stuff. It's absolutely melting, no pun intended on Neltharus. This place is pretty warm. So this is normally a 3-target cleave fight where we kill one of the enemies very quickly, and then I can't cleave after that. But when there's 5 targets, it's much easier to cleave for a longer amount of time and keep the cleave up. As you can see, we've got 1.5 million DPS on that pull, and that's a credit to having a couple extra enemies in the pack. So here we're at 91% enemy forces, and if I remember right in comms, which aren't recorded, Fubar was like, hey, do you have cooldowns? We're going to do a big pull. Because this is normally we go in, we do the boss, and then we turn around and kill these guys. So I don't have my True Shot up for this, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. Like, look at the damage. Like, it's not the end of the world when you don't have True Shot up for these. Yeah, it doesn't pump as much, but it's going to be much better to have it up for the boss, because that's going to be more damage we're getting on the boss, and that's going to be kind of smoothing out the boom bust, so to speak, of our damage profile, particularly in the War Within, when we're going to be lacking in that department just a little bit. But with Sentinel, I'm hoping that Sentinel damage is still going to look pretty good. I still don't think Dark Ranger is going to be the play. It's going to be the play probably in PvP, but in keys, probably not so much. So finish off this lava spawn here, and we are at 10 minutes left in this key, basically. We're going to get the pet out here in just a second. I'm going to go dodge this here. I'm going to go grab some gold, and then we are going to go to town. So I'm just waiting to lust until we get the ad out. I'm going to get molten gold on me. I should have used maybe a defensive there. Been a little bit easier for Karm to heal me up. But here comes the burning ember. There's the ad, and then we're just going to cleave off of the ad. Put the volley down there so I can hit both of the targets. It dies very, very quickly. We have the Warlord that's now taking a bunch of damage here in just a second. Going to go ahead and use that ability, burst through her shield, and then let's just absolutely tee off. So this boss melts very, very quickly, and I'm going to be going and grabbing some gold here in just a second. Want to make sure we have those up after the burn phase, particularly when you have a second to do that. And look at that, like 700k DPS single target, pretty much. And that's because we had True Shot up at the beginning of the pull, so we were able to start off really hot damage-wise and continue that through the burn phase and into this kind of I guess second phase, if you will, or first phase. So here comes another magma shield. I'm going to go ahead and use my item. At this point, I couldn't remember which one I had, so I hoped for the best, and I hoped right. We're at 30% now here. good lord, we went from 32 to 27 like within like two seconds. That was pretty crazy damage by our group. But if you look at the true shot, my true shot's actually coming up right now because I am in bullseye now as well. So that's something to take into consideration as well, as having true shot up not only for boss pulls but for bullseye as well. And if you can hit that sweet spot, oh, you are going to be doing all the damage and your group is going to absolutely love you in the War Within. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Consider subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I've got a lot more videos, and I'll have some more videos for the War Within very soon, including some pet tame videos. So thank you guys for watching. Best of luck in your run, and I'll see you next time.